Hi there, my name is Ed. Thank you so much for meeting with me today. I want to show you a UI UX development project I worked on recently. Sort of go through my process and explain my rationale to help you get a better idea about my design work. Yeah, so this was an app called Take2. It's a testosterone administration app for transgender men. And yeah, we'll get into the details as we go along. Um, so the first thing we want to do, starting this development, was figure out who our user persona and target audience was going to be. So came up with the persona of Danny, who's a 16-year-old trans boy who just started T and self-injects every week. So it's pretty new to the process, and he does it all by himself. And he just needs some help learning the injection steps, and wants something that's straightforward, no frills. In contrast to like the heavy papers and paragraphs that come with your medication that can be difficult to get through and understand very well. So his needs here are sort of what's going to drive the whole project. So we get into that, sort of figuring out what layout, aesthetics, and features are going to serve uh, his needs and his sort of life altogether. Um, Sort of figuring out everything from aesthetics to the mood of the app, and sort of figuring out some keywords like reliable and steady, and even like a little bit cool to sort of uh, cater to his life as just a teenage boy, you know? When we start prototyping, uh, we get some valuable feedback. Sometimes as simple as the home button isn't working. Sometimes a little bit more detailed, such as the text on this step is a little bit difficult to read. Uh, like, could you maybe move the symbol in the background a little bit to make it a little bit easier to understand? Um, but the primary feedback I got for this app was aesthetic, and unfortunately, my two testers were wildly outside of the target audience, um, both being women in their mid 20s. And so some of the aesthetic feedback I had to sort of take with a grain of salt and sort of debate whether that was a personal critique or something that would be like actively useful for the app. Um, yeah, so we'll get into the final prototype in just a second. But yeah, here's just some photography that I did for the app. Yeah, the whole app is a little bit, you'll see, is a bit straightforward, including bullet points and highlights for important safety information. And yeah, just keeping that sort of like cool guy aesthetic for, our teenage target audience, without feeling too forced, just very minimalist and modern. Yeah, so thank you. Let's go over to the prototype and zoom in a little bit. There we go. Okay, great. So, homepage, pretty easy start. Very clear what you're gonna need to do here. Very clear what the app is about. Let me just start right off. Uh, Again, seeing the safety information highlighted in purple, sort of scattered around the app where you're maybe going to encounter needing to take that safety into account or a question that'll pop up. We've got some sort of like industrial photography going on. Um, yeah, just scrolling through a little bit to give you an idea. The steps are very easily bullet pointed out without using too much text, but enough text to understand what you need to do without having asking too many questions. Some photography showing where you need to inject, some tips on how to reduce pain, and then you come to this button that's starting the countdown for when you are going to inject the needle. And you'll see here, I can show you that we've included arrows right here. So in case maybe you got scared and didn't stab yourself in time, you can just start over again really quickly. Um, if you feel that you need the injection assistance help. Um, And yeah, you can navigate with the next button or the arrow keys. And yep, yeah, pretty straightforward app. With that aesthetic, sort of taking over every page. Yep. Yeah. So I feel like I have some unique ideas that I could share with your team, and I could be a really strong player. So thanks so much for meeting with me, and I hope you consider me for this position. Thank you so much.